Hi, welcome back to another video, and this video will be about chapter 4 chemical composition in a cell. So in this chapter we will learn 5 major components that can found in the living organisms, which is water, carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, and nucleic acids. So for each of the components, as I mentioned just now, so we are going to learn for the properties. And then we need to relate the properties of the water, carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, and nucleic acids that we learn with the importance in the cell. So basically, this chapter is quite easy because you just need to learn from the properties of each of the components, which is the water, carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, and nucleic acids, and you need to remember the properties and to be applied in the questions later. So basically, it is just the introductions or the overview pictures for each of the components. So let's get started for 4.1 water. So first of all, the examples of the organic compounds are carbohydrates, protein, lipids, and nucleic acids. And the reason why they are known as the organic compounds, I will review it later. So first of all, this is the topic about the water. So all we need to know about water is the properties of the water and its importance in the cell. So let's get started with the first point, which is the polarity of the water. So this is the diagram of the water of two water molecules. This is the first water molecule and this is the second water molecule. So the bond that connecting the first and second water molecule is the hydrogen bond. So this is an example of the bond interactions between the hydrogen bond and water molecule. So polarity of water. Let's see what is polarity. So polarity basically means it has charge, something related with the charge, which is the positive charge or the negative charge. So for your information, water is an inorganic compound that consists of the hydrogen and oxygen elements. As you can see from the diagram at the left hand side here, water molecule is just consists of two elements, which is the oxygen and the hydrogen, and it is and among the 5 components that I mentioned just now, water, protein, carbohydrates, lipid, and nucleic acid, only water is the inorganic compound. So water molecules are the polar molecules because the share electrons between the hydrogen and oxygen will be attracted towards the oxygen, which is the more electronegative. So the thing is that you need to know what is meant by electronegative. So electronegative, it comes from the word electronegativity. It is where we refer it to the strength to attract electron. So when we say the oxygen atom is more electronegative, means that it can pull more electron towards the oxygen. Meaning that when this is oxygen and then hydrogen, this is the water molecule, and then most of the electrons, let's use blue color to illustrate the electron. So most of the electron will be pulled to the oxygen atom. So that's why we said it is polarized, because polarity refers to the charge. Okay, more electron will be attracted to the oxygen atom. So the consequences and the effect of this polarity will be it produces the hydrogen bonds and allows water to act as the universal solvent. So universal solvent allows the solutes such as glucose and electrolytes to be transported through the plasma membrane into the cells for biochemical reactions. Okay, so water is the universal solvent. The first thing you need to remember is, so let's tidy up some of the points that we learned. So for the polarity of water, there are some points that you need to know, which is first of all, water is an inorganic compound. And then water are the polar molecules because the shared electrons between oxygen and hydrogen will be attracted towards electron, which is illustrated by this diagram. So this second point is illustrated by this diagram. Because oxygen is more electronegative. So the third point you need to remember is that this polarity causes water to become a universal solvent, which it can allow the solute such as glucose and electrolytes to be transported through the plasma membrane into the cells for biochemical reactions. So let's go for the cohesive force and adhesive force of the water. So for your information, cohesive force means that the water molecules are attached to each other. And at the same time, the water molecules also attach to the other surface, where we call it as adhesive force. Okay. Attach to the other surfaces through adhesive force. So in order for you to remember, you can think of cohesive is actually like connect. So it connect one water molecule with another water molecule, and at the same time the water molecules are attached through the other surface by the adhesive force. So since the word of attach start with A, so you can also remember adhesive force is something related to attach to the surface, the ability of the water to attach to the surface. So both forces are very important because it produces the capillary actions. So capillary action is something like the pulling force. It's like a pulling force that one water molecule can pull another water molecule to move along the narrow spaces, such as in the xylem tube. It allowed the movement of the water. So these are the diagrams that shows the interactions of the cohesive force and the adhesive force inside the xylem tube. So let's get with the first diagram, which is this one. Cohesive force is just like how the water molecules connect or attracted to each other when they start to move outwards in the xylem vessel. They need to go outwards in order so that the leaf at the upper parts of the plants can get enough water for photosynthesis. And then for the second diagram, it is for the adhesive force. Adhesive force is something like how the water molecules can attach to the other surface by the adhesive force. So actually, the labeling over here shouldn't be like this. Adhesive force is this one. It is the ballet, okay? So this is the cohesive force, and then the one that water molecules attach to the wall, the xylem wall. This is the xylem wall. Is the adhesive force. So the last chemical properties of the water is specific heat capacity. So water has a high specific heat capacity, which is 4.2 kilojoule per kg per degree Celsius. So what is meant by specific heat capacity? So it is the heat energy that required to raise the temperatures of 1 kg of the water by 1 degree Celsius. So for information, water absorbs a lot of heat energy with a small rise in temperature because it can absorb nearly 4.2 kilojoule, which equivalent to 4,200 joule of heat energy. So this characteristic is very important to maintain the body temperatures of the organisms. So this is all the chemical properties that you need to know for water. So let's conclude. So first of all, you need to know what is the polarity of the water and what is the functions or effects or benefits of water due to the polarity. And the second thing you need to know is the cohesive force and the adhesive force of water, and what is the importance of these two forces. Lastly, you need to know what is the specific heat capacity, and generally you need to know what is meant by specific heat capacity. So that's all for me, and I will see you in the next video.